Day 6 of the fast, February 6th, 9:13 p.m. A pretty standard day. Went to work. I did actually improve my morning routine a little bit. Um, I was able to do some push-up squats, sit-ups, and a couple pull-ups. Still, I'm that much closer to getting a full exercise routine in the morning, and that'll probably help tremendously. Uh, I didn't really figure out where to put time in for painting. With my new job, it's a little hard because I don't have like access to a huge block of time readily available like I did. So I got to figure out how to space that out. Or maybe during those times I could not paint and just draw something. Um, I'm real sorry. These are supposed to feel natural. And I talked about rock bottom earlier, and I said that God will put you into rock bottom if you don't try it yourself. But I'd like to correct that and say that's not always the case. Sometimes sometimes people need to be pulled into rock bottom, even if they are doing well, to learn certain lessons that they wouldn't learn otherwise. And sometimes it is because they put off the things that they're supposed to be doing, or but other times somebody could be doing everything right, but there's like just one of those lessons that they haven't learned yet, so they'll get pulled into rock bottom, and they'll be basically told to claw their way out of it. And that kind of goes hand in hand with listening to your spirit, that gut feeling that I was talking about earlier. Sometimes that's just there to prepare you, I feel. But honestly, as much as it hurts, we should all take pride in that. It's like, I'm not saying in any way that we should be like in love with pain and suffering like some people end up doing over time, but we should we should appreciate that we my cat decided to join us today. Say hi, Nuno. Maybe maybe today the message is all about patience. Sometimes we want things much faster than physically possible. And some of the motivational stuff I was looking at today said that, sometimes we aren't ready for it quite yet. And that's kind of what rock bottom is for. And for different people of different backgrounds, there are different versions of it, and sometimes not even then. It really depends on what you need at the moment. But we really ought to just, even when these things happen, just appreciate the little things. Like, appreciate even the fact that we're breathing right now, because there's a lot of people who don't even have that. And it's important to just appreciate the life we're given, make the most of it in any way possible, and not be super reckless about it. Like, don't do stupid stuff just for the thrill. That's the adrenaline rush may feel nice, but that's basically you're basically addicted to the adrenaline. But doing things that would be perceived dangerous, like talking to someone new, maybe trying your hand at that barista you've been eyeing, male or female. Maybe just, live in the moment. Maybe we shouldn't be obsessed with the future all the time. It should always be considered, but it should never be obsessed over. I often like to say that the future should be considered, the present should be lived in, and the past should be learned from. The future should be considered, the present should be lived in, and the past should be learned from. There are limitless lessons we can obtain from our past experiences, but if we're too focused on our past, then we're missing all the things that are happening right now in front of our eyes. And if we're too obsessed on the future, the same thing happens, but just in a different way. You realize that your present ends up in the past. Sometimes the past reminds us that we're afraid of something. And that's kind of what facing your fears are, in a way, is just reminding yourself that you aren't that person anymore. You aren't that person from the past. Spiders will always be terrifying. Nobody can convince me otherwise. Maybe one day I'll face that fear, but it's going to take a long, long time for me to get over that. I used to be afraid of snakes until I knew someone who owned one. Now I can at least tolerate them. So maybe it's the same for spiders. At some point in your journey, you grow to the point where you just don't have the heart to kill spiders or anything. You kind of just leave them be, or direct them outside the house. Unless they're parasites, like ticks that I find on my cat on occasion. I mean, they're trying to kill him, so gotta protect him. Yeah. It's important that we continue asking questions. And we also ask questions about those questions. But not in the way that you would think. It was I'm not asking why this should be this or that, but just ask how things work. Try to put yourself in other people's shoes. Not only is it the most efficient way to learn, but you also start understanding concepts that no one could really. No, that's not right. You end up understanding concepts that not all people can and have the capability to. But it starts with asking questions. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves. I'll be here tomorrow. God bless.